For the best car, SUV, or truck, guess what? You're in luck. Frontier Motors is down the street. Got the best deals that can't be beat. Don't overpay, come in today. Doing business the old-fashioned way. Frontier, we got the right price. Frontier, we'll treat you mighty nice. Frontier Motors, low overhead country.
And welcome to the continuation of our programming here on News Talk 1370 WCOA. This is Talk at 10, but it's also the Frontier Motors Show. We certainly solicit and encourage your phone calls. If you'd like to learn the price of a car, truck, or an SUV that you're thinking of buying or selling or trading in, give us a call, 478-3116, 478-3116, and I, being in charge of this equipment here, will connect you to Ivan Struckel from Frontier Motors, who is our expert and certainly knows more about car prices than I've even forgotten about. Good morning, sir. Glad to have you here.
Hey, Don, thanks so much. I'm not sure about the term expert, but we will give it our best shot. This is the Frontier Motor Show, and we've been doing this show on 1370 AM Talk Radio for 20 years now, and we've also been recording this for about almost all of those years for Blab TV. So if you're watching this on TV, you don't have to call in to get the value. Now, you can call the number on your screen, on the bottom of your screen, and that's the dealership's number, and we've got 5 sales managers standing by that can help you with the value of the car. And the way that we work the show is that we talk a little bit about the car business, we talk a little bit about Frontier Motors, but most of all, we help you, the general public in the Pensacola area, that if you've got a question about a car deal, if you've got a question about what you should paying for a particular car, if you have a question about what your car might be worth if you're going to trade it in on a new car or a used car somewhere else, this is the spot to go to. Not necessarily 1370 AM radio, but definitely Frontier Motors. And we are located at 230 Beverly Parkway, which is outside of Car City by about 2 blocks for a reason. 20 years ago when we decided to open up Frontier Motors, we wanted to be in Car City with all the big dealers, but the cost of property there, even 20 years ago, kind of kept us from pulling the lever and having that large mortgage and that large insurance mortgage that you're going to have on a monthly basis. What we decided to do is buy a small building for a little bit over $100,000 outside of Car City, and the reason and the mentality was to keep the overhead as low as possible and provide the best service and the best cars for the money without having to make a huge profit to still stay in business. Now, obviously, we have to make a profit to stay in business, but I think it's the amount of profit that you have to make that determines the pricing of the car, and that's different from dealer to dealer. So if you found the car of your dreams at one of the local dealers or even a private individual, maybe on Craigslist or even, heaven forbid, on eBay, call us first. You don't have to tell us what they're asking for the vehicle. All we ask you to do is share the information as far as the ID number of the car would be very helpful for us to give you a price. Now, I can give you a price without the ID number, but the ID number automatically gives me the history report of the car, which if you don't want to pay for a history report, I'm not sure if you know this or not, but a Carfax these days is almost $50, and the second largest provider of history reports is AutoCheck, and they're about $35. So to get a value from either one of those, to get a history report from one of those is quite expensive, and that's one of the things that we provide when you give us the ID number, a free history report, and also a free price as far as what that car should sell for if we had it on Frontier Motors lot. Now, a lot of times you'll find that we actually, with having 350 cars in inventory, you'll find that we could possibly have that same car on the lot as we speak, and I can just go to that car and say, okay, you're looking at a 2015 Impala. We've got one right here. It's got 10,000 miles on it. It's $24,500. So you can use that information that if the other dealer or private individual is asking $27,000, you can use that information to hopefully get yourself another deal. Don, do we have a call?
We do indeed. This is Fred, and you too can be a caller if you want to get some information from Ivan Struckel with Frontier Motors here on News Talk 1370 WCOA. You call us at 478-3116, 478-3116. This is Fred.
Thanks, Fred. Thanks for calling the Frontier Motor Show. How can I be of help?
I just want to ask you, did you see that thing in the paper a couple weeks ago about total the vehicle sold for the physical year last year, specifically the Ford trucks and the GM Chevrolet trucks?
I sure do, Fred. I keep a hand on that, and for the last month or so, I've been talking on COA Radio here on Blab TV that we are about to have, if things kept going the way they were going in November and September and October, we were going to have the best selling new car year ever in the history. And guess what had happened? We ended up December with a bang, and they sold the last the year 2000 was the last time that sold 17.4 million cars. And we beat that by about 100,000 cars. But you're right. The Ford pickup truck is the number one selling vehicle in the United States. That's for cars and trucks. The number two selling. Go ahead.
It said in the paper that Ford sold 690-something thousand. And Chevrolet and GMC together sold 730,000.
Yeah, and that's true. And you're right. When you put them together like that, Fred, I believe. And I think somebody called a couple months ago asking me that, and I didn't know the answer because a couple of years ago when I looked it up, Ford outsold Chevy and GMC together. But this year, now, Fred, were you talking about the end of the year? Did that include December?
No, it was kind of for fiscal year end of October.
Yeah, that's what I thought. And that was Ford was gaining on Chevrolet and GM put together, and there's always a fight going on. I don't know what the deal is about being number one, but I guess they can use it in their advertising, just like sometimes I say we're the number one used car independent dealer in Pensacola. Well, what good is that? The only good is that if that means that we sell a lot of cars and we must be doing something right. And if Ford can claim that they can outsell General Motors altogether, GMC and Chevy combined, obviously that's a notch in their belt because they have to have a good truck to be able to do that. But that's very interesting, and I do have the information. I just don't have it with me in the show here, Fred. And next time we do the show, I'll come up with the total stats as far as if that happened, if Ford beat GMC and Chevy combined. Thank you for calling.
No, they didn't beat them. That was the point I was making. Was that GMC Chevrolet together had 732,000, and Ford only had 690 something.
And that was throughout the whole year, right, to the end of December?
No, that was through the physical year.
Right. Well, okay. So that was through the December. Well, good. I'm glad that happened.
That might have been through October.
Yeah, I'm going to double check that. But Fred, thanks for calling the show. That's a very interesting statistic, and that leads me into talking about statistics like I just did a minute ago, as far as how excited that is. How exciting it is that they had the best new car selling year ever. And I'm really happy for the new car dealerships out there, especially obviously the ones in Pensacola. I can't imagine not having an increase. I think the only one that had a decrease at the end of the year was Volkswagen with their diesel situation. And I think even for the year, believe it or not, even with that fiasco, which started in about September, where it came out that they cheated on emissions test, there were still up a small percentage for the year over the year before. So that's a feather in their cap that they could keep that momentum going, even though they had some issues to contend with. The industry in the whole had a lot of things to contend with. Obviously, the Takata airbag situation was the biggest story for the year, when they're recalling 35 million cars worldwide, and how that whole thing was going to play out as far as being able to get these airbags replaced. And I'm not sure if it was a whole airbag system or just one of their little solenoids in there, but how they're going to do that. And I know that from running the history reports on multiple cars on a weekly and daily basis, that there's a lot of cars out there that still have not had the airbags replaced. And folks, if you want to call me with your ID number, you can go to gov.com. I don't know the exact website, but if you Google recalls, it'll give you a website to go to. You can plug your own ID number in instead of calling Frontier Motors. You can plug your own ID number in of your car, and it'll tell you every open recall on your particular car. That way you can call the dealer of your choice, the manufacturer that you're driving, and have them put you on that waiting list to make sure that you will be next in case that happens. Don, do we have another call?
This is Jack.
Hey, Jack, thanks for calling the Frontier Motor Show. How can we help you?
Hey, I was wondering if I could get a value on a truck that I'm looking at possibly buying. Okay,
let's do this, Jack. Let's use the Black Wholesale Guidebook first. All right, what year is it? Let me ask you a couple questions instead of you rattling it off. What year is the truck?
2008.
All right, let's plug that in. And the next thing is what make? Is it a Ford or Chevy?
GMC.
All right. GMC, and it's a 1500.
It's a Canyon.
Okay, it's a Canyon. All right, got me for a loop there. Here we go. And the next question asks is if it's an SL, an SLE, that would be the one with cloth interior, or an SLT.
I believe it's an SLE with a cloth.
Okay. So I'm assuming it's got power windows and door locks.
Yes.
Okay. And is it a crew cab or an extended cab?
Crew cab.
And is it a four-wheel drive or two-wheel drive?
2.
All right. And how many miles are on it?
133.
Is it a 6-cylinder or the 5-cylinder? I mean, it's 5-cylinder or the 4-cylinder?
5.
Okay. Well, the good thing about the 133,000 miles on it, whatever issues might have had on the 5 cylinders, we had some issue with the 5 cylinders, but they normally happen between 60 and 80,000 miles. So if this vehicle made it to 130,000 miles, you probably got a good motor, or it's already been fixed. It tells me that even with the miles, and my guess, Jack, is that this is a little bit high. This is the black book. I'm going to also run the NADA for you, but it says that average black wholesale. The black book, I should really contend. I'm going to hold this up. I know you're not seeing this because you're on the radio, but for our TV watchers, I'm holding the black book up, and that's the guide that the dealerships use when they appraise a vehicle. And we're getting more sophisticated, Jack, where we don't really use the book anymore. Everything's on computer, and then we also check the auction reports. The miles have a lot to do with it, and there's not a big mileage deduct, so I want to also get the NADA for you. And the reason I want to do the NADA is because this is what, and I'm not saying you're going to finance it, but if you decided, or if there's a customer listening that is going to finance a vehicle like this, the local banks do not use the black book. The local banks use the NADA book. So what I try to do is use both of them and kind of average them out, and that's what I'm going to do. And my goal here is to see what loan value is. Loan value is supposed to be wholesale on the NADA guidebook, and it looks like with 133,000 miles, we got a 5-cylinder motor. They add a little more things on the NADA, Jack. They add for a trailer hitch. Do you have a trailer hitch on it?
I think so.
Okay. And does it have hubcaps or does it have alloy wheels?
17-inch alloys.
Okay, so we'll add for that. That's a $250 ad. The only other thing they add for is a sunroof or a fiberglass topper on the back of it.
Nope.
Okay. Well, it seems like it's a consensus that loan value is $8,300. Average black book is $86. So I would have to say that a dealer would pay somewhere between $8,000 and $8,500 for this vehicle in good condition. Now, when I say condition-wise, obviously I can do an appraisal on the vehicle without seeing it, but there's going to be a little asterisk on that appraisal saying less reconditioning other than normal wear and tear. We know this vehicle is not going to be perfect. It's got 130,000 miles on. It's going to have some dings. It's going to have some scratches. It's not going to be perfect, which is normal. The only thing that I would deduct for, let's say hypothetically that it needs tires, and tires are $500 or $600, you'd have to deduct for tires. But in this case, if wholesale is somewhere between $8,000 and $8,500, I would say that your buying price on this vehicle should be somewhere around that $10,000 range. What are they asking for it?
15.
$15,000?
Yeah,
that's a little crazy.
I think because it's been a little bit customized with a lift kit and the bumpers and side rails, and just it looks pretty. It's got brand new tires. That kind of thing. Right.
Well, retail is $12,200. I didn't mention retail. NADA retail, when you go to that bank, when we're talking about the NADA value, is forget about the extras for a minute. Some people will look at a lifted vehicle with big wheels and tires as an ad, and some people / dealers will look like at it like a deduct. For example, you immediately are going to alienate the buying public that is looking for just a regular truck, because it's a very specialized truck. Now, I'm not saying not to pay a little bit more for the extras. The rule of thumb is somewhere about 25 to 50% of what the extras was cost is what you pay used. For example, let's say the guy spent $4,000 on extras on this truck. And let's say it wasn't that long ago. He's got new tires, got it lifted up, it looks beautiful. Well, if he spent, let's say, $6,000, you'd pay maybe $3,000 more. But if I'm telling you to pay around $10,000, that would make your selling price somewhere around $13,000. He's asking basically what I would consider retail on this truck, which is way too much for a 133,000 mile truck. That wouldn't be bad to pay retail for this customized truck if it had 75,000 miles on. But most people want to end the life of their vehicle at 130. They don't want to start it at 130. So that's way too much for the miles.
I think he might have bought it, put it up, fixed it up, and hoping he probably bought it cheap, and then probably hoping to make a couple bucks off of it. It's a fairly young kid that did the work, or that had the work done.
Plus, you can't get it unless you ask it. That's what they always say in the car business, right?
Yeah.
If you don't know what a Versa is, that's their small economy car. It gets about 40 miles a gallon. We have one that's got 500 miles on it. We have a Ford Edge, which is a midsize SUV, got a great rating. My uncle's got an Edge with about 130,000 miles on it. He's never had a lick of problems. I've got a Ford Edge on the lot that's got 570 miles on it. We have a Camaro with 900 miles on it. We have a Nissan Quest with 1,100 miles on it. We have a Tacoma, a 2016 new body style Tacoma with 1,600 miles on it. Now, the reason I'm rattling, I got 50, 60 more cars I can talk about here out of the 350 that we have, but I don't want to bore everybody. But I was going to lead in the fact that we have the new car cost guides, and you might come into the dealership to ask me what you should pay for a brand new car. And that's what I was saying. Well, I'm going to try to talk you out of it, because if I could save you, $5,000, $6,000, $10,000, I might convince you to buy a 16 or a 15 with low miles on it. But if I can't, there's always that small percentage of the public that says, well, I don't want somebody else's headache. I'm not going to take a risk, so I'm going to buy the car brand new. And if you do, I've got the new car cost guides. So the Consumer's Reports sells invoices in the back of their magazine. And the invoices they sell, I believe, are $16, $15.95 for an invoice. That's for one invoice. I can give you the new car invoices at no charge. Now, why would you want to have an invoice? The only advantage of having invoices, if you know what the dealer paid, it saves a lot of time, because you don't have to do a lot of back and forth. If you know they paid $31,500 for the car, make them a reasonable offer and get a reasonable trade-in value for your car. And that's why you come to Frontier Motors, to find out what that new car invoice is, which should be used to find out what the reliability of the car you're looking for. I've got the Consumer's Reports. I've got it up here also, because I read it from cover to cover, so I can pretty much tell you which I feel, based on experience and reading Consumer's Report, what model I feel is a car you should buy, and what model I feel is a car you could stay away from. Now, the reason I can give you this information is because I'm not selling that new car. Now, if you go to an Infiniti dealer, that salesperson is trained to give you every reason why the Infiniti is the best product in the world, and that's what they sell for a living. They don't sell anything else. And when you go across the street to the Lexus dealership, they're going to tell you why their product is the best year after year after year. And guess what? When you go to the other side of the curb again and look at a BMW, they're going to tell you why their car is the best. And that goes on and on and on, whether it's a Chevy or Ford. And the only way that you're going to get an unbiased opinion is when you go to an independent dealership like Frontier Motors that sells everything. Because I would just like to get your business on any type of car. So I don't have to kind of push you. Some people say the Honda's the best. Some people say the Toyota's the best. Some people say Lexus is the best. And then if you talk to a loyal Ford buyer, they'll say, I've had Fords, they're $3,000 less expensive, and I've never had a problem with them. So you get all kinds of opinions. The nice thing about it is we have them all at Frontier Motors, folks. If you're looking for a midsize SUV, we talked about the 500-mile Ford Edge, and if you want to move up just a little bit, move up to the Ford Explorer. If you want to go to a large one, move up to the Expedition. And then we have the General Motors version of that, where you can look at a small Captiva, you can look at a Chevy Equinox, you can go up to the Chevy Traverse, you can go up to the Tahoe, you can go up the Suburban, all the way up the line. Now, we have the Ford and the Chevy right there. So if you come in and I want to show you a Ford and you say, I hate Fords, it's not a problem. I got the Chevrolet right there. You're not insulting me. And vice versa with the Chevy. I've got people coming in and I'll try to show you the Chevy and they say, no, I'm a Ford guy. Well, if you're looking at a big vehicle. Now, you could possibly say, I would like to look at a Nissan Armada. I want to look at a big vehicle. And then you could look at the Toyota version, which is the Toyota Sequoia or the Land Cruiser. If you flip over to the Lexus, we've got the large LX 460 Lexus sitting right there. So we have them all. Isn't it that much easier for make a decision when you're talking to a salesperson that doesn't have to sell you on a make or model? Because when you go to the Ford store and you look at a Ford Edge, now if you want to compare, and you want to go to the Lincoln, now you're going to look at the MKX. So now you got to meet two sales pitch. Let's say you want to look at the Lexus RX 350. Let's say you want to look at a BMW, an X1 or an X3 or an X5. Now you've gone to Ford to 3 or 4 different dealers just to look at 3 or 4 different models. What if you are comparing it to 10 models that are on your list? You got to go to 10 dealerships. Some of them you got to go to Mobile because they don't sell every make and model. Like they don't sell Lexus here, they don't sell Acura, they don't sell Porsche here. So you got to go all the way to Mobile just to sit in one, Just come to Frontier Motors. Our salespeople unlock every car every morning, 350 cars. They unlock them all. That way you can sit in one another. You know, a new car dealership, you got to get a key. It takes forever just to get a key. We unlock every car so you can fit in. The number one thing, other than the looks of the car, the first thing you do when you're looking to buy something is looks. Oh, I like the way that one looks. But then you sit behind the wheel and you hate it. Well, you scratch that one off the list, now you start all over. Well, Frontier Motors, you can do that right off the bat. Most people have an idea of what they're looking for, but when we have them all lined up, it keeps you from going to 10 different dealerships. You meet one salesperson. He'll show you every make and model. If you narrow it down to one, the next question you're going to have is how much is it? We can even give you a price list because we don't put the neon signs on our cars. We don't want it to. You won't see balloons at Frontier Motors. You won't see the blow-up dolls. You won't see specials and sales and Midnight Madness sales. You won't see the little key that fits the car and you win it. I think our claim to fame is that we give honest, good deals every single day we're open. And we treat everybody the same. I don't care if it's Don that's bought 7 vehicles from us or somebody that is 17 years old, just got their driver's license, getting the first car. They're in by themselves, and they want to look around because Dad's going to come and help them out later, but he's gone. He's at work. And we treat everybody the same. And we also make sure that when we give you a price, that we've done enough research, that is a good price. I'm smart enough to know from doing this since I was about 15 years old, or being in the car business since I was 15 years old, that if we give you a bad price, you won't come back. So we're going to give you a good price. We're going to give you a good price. Now, we might not necessarily always have the lowest price. We've got a program called Price Driver that tells us every make and model. And a lot of times, let's say I give you a price of $20,000. I look at Price Driver. Oh, there is one for $18,000. Now, of course, you're going to gravitate to that one. It's $2,000 less. But I can see on here immediately that it's a 4-cylinder, not a 6-cylinder. I can see immediately it's not an SLE with leather interior and a sunroof. It's a base model SE with cloth interior. It doesn't have the backup camera. It's got the small wheels. I can see immediately it's got 45,000 more miles on it. I can see immediately that it should be more than $2,000 less than ours, based on that information. And that's not taking into consideration the number 3 thing that a person looks at, and that's condition. I think the first thing is looks. If you don't like the way it looks, you're not going to buy it. And a lot of that has to do with color. We never mention color. When the bank opens this book, I had a customer going around the other day. We were talking about a Toyota Venza. I was $500 over what this book said. But it was pearl white with a light tan interior. It could have been purple with pink interior. The book still would have been the same. It could have had 7 owners with 2 accidents and a smoker's car. The book would have been the same. So sometimes you can take this book and throw it out, but it's a guideline. I do use the NADA book to value cars because I know from doing this for a long time, that's what the banker's going to tell us. I also know that the banker doesn't sell any cars because I've had it happen already where the book is like on a Lexus, for example. Some of the Lexus products have really good resale value. Well, this book keeps dropping every month, but the price of the vehicle doesn't drop. So after a couple years, this book is still really low because it drops every month. But the value of the vehicle hasn't dropped that much. So on some vehicles, this book is really, really low. And of course, the joke that there always is in the car industry is based on the fact that I can't sell it to you for that price at times. Well, if the banker told me it was worth $20,000, well, then go buy it from the banker. Now, that's kind of a smart-ass remark. I shouldn't be saying that, but I never would use that at Frontier Motors, but I know some other dealerships do. What you have to do is use the market. I did a program on my Venza, and I found out it had the best price out there, even though it was a little higher than the book value. Now, there's other examples, like on some Mercedes products, the books are lower, are actually higher than what they're selling for, depending on the model, not on everything. But I'm just using an example. It doesn't really matter. The only thing that matters is reality. When you call Frontier Motors for a value on the car, whether you're buying or selling, we're going to give you reality. I call it the real value, not the book value. Because there's lots of books. Edmunds, the Kelley Blue Book, the NADA, the Black Book. Where does it stop? What other books can you use? And they're all a little bit different. So you get real confused. So that's why you stop at Frontier Motors or you call Frontier Motors and you say, I've got this car I'm looking for. Like when we had Jack calling, he's looking at a 130,000-mile Canyon. Well, the first thing I would tell Jack, take it over to Bobby Likas, take it over to one of these places that do inspections. You've got a vehicle that has 130,000 miles on it, that's 8 years old, I'd be a little nervous about that. Now, we sell vehicles like that also. We do the best we can to inspect them properly so they don't have any issues. We make sure they have no check engine lights on. We make sure the power windows and all the stuff works on them. And we put them on the lot. And then we tell you one thing. We tell you to check them out. Now, every vehicle that's got over 100,000 miles on, we still put a 3-month warranty, a 3-month, 3,000-mile drivetrain warranty on it. If you go to a dealer, like this person, like if Jack is buying this from a dealer, he didn't tell me, I think he said it was a young kid. But let's say he was buying it from a dealer, and they marked that box as is, I'd walk away. Frontier Motors will give you a 3-month warranty. If the vehicle has less than 100,000 miles on it, is less than 8 years old, we put a 5-year, 100,000-mile drivetrain warranty on every car that we sell that has under 100,000 miles on it. So if you're buying a Chevrolet, I don't know if you know this, but the Chevrolet warranty, let's take a look at the drivetrain warranty on a Chevrolet. Chevrolet has a 5-year, 60,000-mile warranty on the engine and transmission. So if you're buying a 61,000-mile Chevy, you have no warranty when you're buying it at the Chevrolet dealership, unless you buy a warranty. But even without buying a warranty, Frontier Motors will give you a warranty up to 100,000 miles on that vehicle. And the reason we do that is we want to make sure that you feel comfortable that you're not buying somebody else's issues. And that if you do have an issue after you buy it, let's say you buy it from us with 61,000 miles on, has 98,000 miles on, the motor blows up, guess what? It's a $200 deductible. They pay the rest. If the motor costs $6,000, they pay $5,800 of it. Gives you a little bit of peace of mind. And now that's without buying a warranty. That's only on the engine and transmission, which is the things that cost you the most. We've only got a couple of minutes left, so we want to talk about a little bit that we make it really easy for people to buy a car. We've already talked about the fact that we sell cars that are the alternative to new. If you're thinking about brand new and you're wanting to save money, I'm going to go real quick. I only got a couple of minutes left. I drove a Corvette up here to the TV/radio show, and I had the window sticker laminated. The window sticker was $80,870. This car's got 3,000 miles on it. I can sell the vehicle for $63,000. That's almost $18,000 less than new. I feel sorry for the guy that said, I'm not buying a used car. I'm buying a brand new car, because obviously for whatever reason at 3,000 miles he decided to dump it. He was out. One owner car, no accidents, never been smoked in, like brand new with warranty, for $17,000 less than a new one. Even if they knocked off $5,000 off the price of that list price, you'd still be saving $12,000 net. Now, that's an extreme example, but that's why you stop at Frontier Motors, just to see how much can you save on a car that's a 16 model or a 15 model or a 14 model with warranty. Now, because we have so many cars that are like new, we also take a lot of cars in trade that can be sold for under $10,000. So don't think that we only sell expensive cars. We have a lot of cars that are under $10,000. Check out our website, FrontierMotorsInc.com. Like us on Facebook. Check out YouTube. Type in Frontier Motors YouTube. You'll see this TV ad on the half-hour show on YouTube. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Have a great day. Auf Wiedersehen.
Guess what? You're in luck. Frontier Motors is down the street. Got the best deals that can't be beat. Don't overpay. Come in today. Doing business the old-fashioned way. Frontier. Got the right price. Frontier will treat you mighty nice. Frontier Motors, low overhead country.